Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, the representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Mr. Tobin.
Thank you. Warami Nalawa. Welcome. Welcome to the lands of the Wallumedegal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and for the invitation to welcome you all here this afternoon. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. Education is highly valued in Aboriginal culture as well. Knowledge meant survival, and our elders are traditionally accorded great respect for their accumulated wisdom and experience. My family descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Maria, into the Native Institution, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie himself, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them, and it became known as the Blackstown, where present-day Blacktown gets its name from. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. Your progress progresses us all. Your advancement is our advancement. Now that was perhaps more readily understood in traditional times when clan groups were smaller and people abided by the strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you brought and caught and brought back to camp got distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the rest of the community, and you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we get clever about it. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a benchmark or a model on how we could expect our lives today. You see, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 240 years ago, he described the people he encountered at Botany Bay as one of the happiest people he'd ever met in the world. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They made shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down. They harvested food from the land without tilling the earth. In traditional times, everyone was accorded rights to the country or clan area where he or she was born into. So there was no homelessness, and no rich and poor either. Everyone had pretty much the same amount of gear, what you could carry. There was no armies or jails or even police. We have no history of slavery or empire building. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, and then they were distributed according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state. Rivers were clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them, as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now remember, this is not an ideal, this was normal life. And there is no reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, there's a lot more of us now, so we've got to get even more clever. But I would say expect great things from your life. And do great things. There is still much magic in the world, and opportunities each day to make a significant change and a difference. Together we can put together a future worthy of our children, but we'll all do our bit. I'll do mine now by winding up and letting you people graduate. I just want to say congratulations to all of you and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you. Welcome to country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan. Mr. Egan.
Thank you, Chris Tobin, for your welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I did see earlier some babies, but in the last couple of minutes their mothers have fled with them outside. Now, I wonder if the security man down the back there I wonder if you could go and ask them, invite them back in, because no one will be bothered by a baby gurgling or crying or making a noise. I'm sure we're all used to that. And in any event, our experience is that if a baby makes a noise to a graduation ceremony, it comes back within 25 years to take out their first PhD. So we actually like hearing noisy babies at graduation ceremonies. So please invite them back in. Well, ladies and gentlemen and graduands, it's my great pleasure and privilege as Chancellor of this university to preside at this very important ceremony. First, I welcome all of our graduands, and I hope that this will be a very happy and a very memorable occasion for all of you. Now, it will only be that way if you all relax a bit. Some of you look relaxed, but some of you look very nervous. There's no need to be. You've all already passed your exams, so you don't have to worry about that. The very worst thing that can go wrong today is that when you come up here, either this falls off, in which case we pick it up and put it back on, or you fall over. And that's happened before, and if that happens, we'll just pick you up too. So please don't worry. Just have a nice, relaxing day, because you do deserve to take pride in your graduation. Completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind. You need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. Today I also want to welcome, and especially welcome, those of you who are sitting behind our graduands as their invited guests. Because if you think about it for just a moment, you've all obviously done very well too. The very fact that you're here, the fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. So mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, cousins, sons and daughters, grandmothers, grandfathers, friends, husbands, wives, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, or whatever you are, congratulations and thank you for celebrating this great occasion with us. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role, because I have another very, very important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they will soon become. I want you to make sure that the degrees they receive today are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their own success, you make sure you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, I hope it won't come as a surprise to you to learn that Macquarie is not one of those 50 universities. In fact, we're relatively young, only 49 years of age. But in those 49 years, we've come a long way. We now have more than 145,000 Macquarie graduates living in more than 140 countries. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We're regarded as one of Australia's leading research universities and are currently extending our research as we are our course offerings and our facilities. We're always trying to engage with the world around us. We've forged strong alliances with the community and with industry and are keen to establish more. On your way here this afternoon, you may have seen our relatively new Macquarie University Hospital. It's been open now for about 3 years, which, as well as being used for its primary purpose of treating sick people, is also used by the students and academics in our also relatively new School of Advanced Medicine. You may also have seen our fabulous new library, which I think was opened not last year but the year before, and which I am sure is the envy of every university in the land. Or perhaps our new Advanced Hearing Hub, which was opened only a few months ago and which is a world-leading institute dedicated to advances in hearing, speech and language science. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Thank you.
Chancellor, I call on Mr Kevin Putra, who's graduating today with a Bachelor of Finance, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Mr Putra.
Good afternoon, Chancellor, members of the university, fellow graduates and guests. The first thing I would like to say to begin the speech is thank you. It is truly a great privilege for me to be able to speak on behalf of the graduates in today's ceremony. I would like to say congratulations to all the graduates that are here in this room. It is because of our hard work and dedication that we are here in this moment, and we should never take that for granted. Yet, I'm sure none of us here today could have done it without the support of our family and friends. So, on behalf of my fellow graduates, thank you for being there with us throughout this journey. Personally, I would also like to thank my mom, who is here in this moment. I would not be standing here right now without her support and love. Thank you, Mom. I'm extremely grateful I had the chance to study at Macquarie University. We are truly blessed to have all these facilities which help make Macquarie such an amazing place to learn. All the lecturers, all the teaching staffs, they never hesitated to share their knowledge and help us when we needed them. They are so committed in what they do. In fact, they're one of the most committed people I've ever seen. And I do believe I speak for every single one of us in saying we are honored to have been able to learn alongside such great people. Still, Macquarie University is more than just a place to study. It is home to an amazing community filled with so many incredible people from various cultures and backgrounds. I'm very proud to say that I have met people that have gone to become an important part of my life today through this place. Our life here at Macquarie University would not be the same without our dearest friends. I sincerely hope that the friendships we have made will stay with us and that the memories will last a lifetime. If I may, I would like to finish by sharing a short story. There was a young boy who came from a poor family. He had a relentless passion for learning. Together with his parents, they lived and worked as housekeepers to one very wealthy family. The master of the house had a son of his own, and he had a wish. He wishes for his son to someday be acknowledged as an educated man. Seeing this young housekeeper's passion and thirst for knowledge, the master arranged for him to go to college, earn a degree in his son's name, and to never reveal the secrets of their arrangements. Long story short, this young man who was once a housekeeper went on to become a world-class scientist with hundreds of patents in his very own school. He did not care about the degree or his status or the bad circumstances that surrounded him at that time. He only cared about following his passion and working hard to make his dreams come true. Well, that story that I just told you was based on one of my personal favorite movies of all time. I hope I did not break any plagiarism rules by saying this, but then again, regardless, there is no doubt that every one of us will go our own separate ways after this day. Some of us will try to find a job. Some might even plan to continue their studies. Others may even plan to start a business. Whatever it is, the road is very likely to get tougher from here on out. That's just how life works. But do not let that stop you or hinder you. Today, we learn from this movie that the most important thing is to follow our passion, keep working hard, never give up on our dreams. One of my favorite quotes actually came from Steve Jobs. He once said, "Sometimes life is just going to hit you in the head with a brick, but don't lose faith." I wish my fellow graduates the very best in their future, and let us continue to live life with the joy and pride that this moment has given us. Thank you.
Well, Kevin, that was a lovely speech and superbly delivered. I think we're going to hear a lot more of you in the future, and I hope you maintain a very close association with Macquarie University. I'm glad your mother's here, and I'm glad you mentioned her. We had an occasional speaker last week whose name was Bob Hawke, the former Prime Minister of Australia, and he said the best decision he ever made in his life was his choice of parents. And I've got a feeling from what we just heard from you that you chose well there too. So well done. I think he deserves a great round of applause. Well, we now come to the key part of the ceremony, the very reason that we're here today, and that's the conferring of degrees. But it's the part of the ceremony that always makes me just a little bit nervous, because I'm told that if I confer a degree on someone who's not eligible to receive it, there's nothing I can do to take it back. So before I give you a degree, I have to get an assurance from the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Students and Registrar, Ms Deirdre Anderson, that every single one of you has never missed a class, was never late for a class, never submitted an assignment late. Can you give me that assurance? Good. Off you go.
Chancellor, I certify that all the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of Academic Senate for the degrees and diplomas that they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees please stand?
Believe it or not, that includes all of you. Yeah. Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees or diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Would you please be seated? Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Business and Economics. This is the largest faculty at Macquarie and is one of the largest in Australia. A broad range of programs in some of the most exciting and topical areas of business and economics are offered and continue to be in high demand both domestically and internationally. Graduates have recorded employment levels and starting salaries well above the average for all Australian business schools. Research in this faculty is cutting edge, innovative and feeds into teaching, giving students the best possible learning experience. This faculty includes research and study areas in accounting, actuary studies, applied finance, economics, management and marketing. Chancellor, I now call on Professor Anne Ross-Smith, the Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economics, to present the graduates. Professor Ross-Smith.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates from the Faculty of Business and Economics whom you have admitted to degrees. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Actuarial Practice. Jun Liang Guo. Rong Li. Jia Ren. Patrick Ubonsawin. Xiaowei Wang. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Finance with Bachelor of Commerce Accounting. Man Ho Lawrence Jin. Michael Howard. Sophie Uchen Lee. Christopher Zheng Mao. Vivian Tran. Patrick Vu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Finance with Bachelor of Commerce Professional Accounting. Joe Pierre Chalita. Renita Choi. Nicholas Joe. Adele Alou. Morgan Kate Hill. Tuan Hayun. Tae Kim. Ashley Eun Ling Lai. Shameen Mohammed Abdul Akbar. Nicholas Ng. Navjeet Singh. Francisca Teresia. Zefong U. Shu Yen. Xiaojian Joy Zhou. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Finance with Bachelor of Economics. Dominic Atwell Harris. Benjamin Black. Michael Anthony Catanzariti. Nicholas Chui Cheng Lam. Rebecca Ann El-Khoury. Hesham El-Tarifi. Tomislav Daniel Mitrovic. Nupur Rahul Nachinath. Natane. Thank you. Kamal Salman. I'll give it a go. Panada Goda Chinja Goshita Anuja Senawi Ratna. You don't even believe it. Yours is easy. Andrew Tadros. I got that right. Jonathan Wan. Anis Abid. Shana Ashan. Krista Ang Rennie. Maniksha Lakshika Aturakahala. Fong Hao Bai. Daniel Boffinger. Lu Chao. He Yong Chen. Hui Kei Chen. Chui Han Chao. Jin Bin Chen. Pan Chen. Rongwei Chen. Yu Chen. Utong Chen. Ting Ting Cheng. Si Go Ching. Chan Ning Choi. Dennis Ethan Chong. Fong Chu. Man Fei Chu. Xiaoming Chu. Miriam Corona Galindo. Nhok Linh Din. Shen Dong. Aria Farah. Oh, sorry. I apologise. I've slipped a name down. Hao Fang. Now it's Aria's turn. Aria Farah. Yahweh Fong. Jin Fang Ng. Jianbo Gong. Wei Gwyn. Ran Gore. Bo Ray Han. Shu Si He. Guo Ong Ho. Xiao Zhe Ho. Yo Ing Huang. Jen Lu Huang. Jeannie Huynh. Thi Hong Han Huynh. Chu Ban Jung. Jun E Jung. Ju Hwan Kim. Leonita Kashashi. Chu Tong Lai. Ziki Lam. Pang Fei Lo. Wang Him Lo. Hu Tong Leung. Jia Tong Lee. Mong Yao Lee. Shu Li. Sin Sin Lee. Tian Lian. Dupong Lin. Xin Ting Liu. Pei Law. Xuan Law. Shang Ma. Xia Che Ma. Maria Margaretha. Garish Narayan. Wan Kit Ng. Ti Ha Fong Nua. Ti Hong Le Nguyen. T Min Tam Nguyen. Ivan Nikiforov. Stephen Pebriento. Hong Nguyen Bao Fun. Kevin Edmund Puniwaring Putra. Han Chien. Adeline Margaretha Razjid. Stephen Salim. Ping Chien Shu. Wei Bing So. Anthony Shri Rahayu. Wanting Su. George Sullivan. Unita Elsie Susanto. Wendy Sutija. Cho Wei Tam. Sugianto Tano Tan. Yamelia Tu. Zong Tian. Juwita Anastasia Chien. Sarah Topjien. Ian Tran. Tinyok Maitron. Tiwi Tien Truong. Hong Ho Jae. Da Quin Trang Vu. Haliang Wang. He Huang. Shuang Wang. Xiang Wang. Xing Huang. Ing Ha Huang. Yu Ji Huang. Zhejiang Huang. Carmoon Huang. Fei Shu. Shiring Shu. Jingjing Yang. Mong Yang. Shay Yao. Shuji Yu. Hong Yuan Yu. Min Yuan. Jianling Yuan. Zhenjing. Liangjiang. Shijiang. Ishinjiang. Winjiajiang. Qian Zhao. Engzheng. Changjua. Ming Chengjua. Ranji Dua. Chancellor, that completes this afternoon's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Business and Economics.
Well now, that wasn't too bad, was it? That beautiful voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer. Would you like to hear Angela sing just a little bit more? Would you? All you've got to do is enrol in another degree, and when you come back next time, she'll be singing at your graduation, I can promise you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think Angela deserves another great round of applause, don't you? And so do our fabulous musicians over there. On the organ, Dr. James Forsyth. And our trumpeter, Melanie McLaughlin. And sitting near them are some of our alumni volunteers who come along to our graduation ceremonies to make sure that they all run very smoothly for you, so they deserve your thanks too. Well, graduates and ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker, Dr. Greg Taylor AO. Greg is an actuarial consultant of 35 years standing and is an internationally recognised opinion leader and prolific researcher in actuarial science. His research has produced cutting-edge, practical solutions for real problems facing government schemes and insurance companies. An Officer of the Order of Australia since 2000, Greg has also been awarded the Gold Medal of the Institute of Actuaries of Australia and various other Australian and international awards in recognition of his contribution to actuarial science. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Greg Taylor.
Chancellor, members of the university, graduates and guests. The first and most obvious act that falls to me is to congratulate you, the graduates, on your achievements by which you appear here today. Some of you may feel that you've prevailed in a war of attrition and that you depart the rarefied air of academia and advance into the so-called real world, heaving a sigh of relief. Others, destined for higher degrees, may regard this degree as a routine staging post along the way. These are temporary sentiments, and I would appeal to all of you to maintain and nurture the experiences here over the next, the experiences you've experienced here over the past few years. I'd like to devote a few minutes to discussion of how you may be called on to apply those experiences in the future. In broad terms, I'd like to address the subject of personal integrity in a couple of different senses. But first, let me set off on a tangent. I'll circle back later to my theme. As you heard from the Chancellor's kind introductory remarks, I eke out my days as an actuary in commercial practice. One of my colleagues once remarked to me that any company that fails to provoke its auditors to qualify its accounts every few years is failing in its duty to its shareholders. Yes. It would be easy to misapply this dictum and use it to justify improper behaviour, but in fact it was not intended as an advocation of reckless accounting, nor of sharp practice. Rather, it expressed the view that one should be prepared to test the boundaries of conventional wisdom. You may by now perceive the relation of this anecdote to my theme of integrity. I'm speaking here of integrity of thought. This is one of the most powerful contributions of academia to society, the refusal to accept dogma, the willingness, passion even, to assess all propositions on their merits. And make no mistake, as some of you commence business careers, you'll encounter no shortage of dogma. The dogma nowadays is no longer religious, but political. A commercial organisation does not always propagate ideas and concepts for their truth and beauty. Its self-interest may come into play, and truth may conflict with self-interest. In such a way is dogma generated, no less today than in days of yore. Corporate belief systems are handed down from one generation to the next as fundamental truths, but they ain't necessarily so. You should subject them to critical scrutiny. In my own career, I've tended to maintain parallel existences in the business and academic worlds. There have been a number of reasons for this, but not least my conviction that immersion in academia would assist in keeping me honest in the intellectual sense. It's all too easy to make pronouncements that are inaccurate, or at least lacking in supporting evidence, yet escape challenge in the commercial world because of one's perceived seniority or experience. The avoidance of challenge is far less likely in the academic world, and that is healthy. I have mentioned my former colleagues' belief in producing accounts that are periodically subject to audit challenge. Somewhat radical, some might say, but after a lengthy period in practice, I would be inclined not to soften that view, but perhaps extend it even further. I would suggest that if one has spent many years making decisions that materially influence the fortunes of corporations and has never been fired, then there may be a need to take stock of oneself. Am I too compliant? After all, over a long period, it is unlikely that you will never need to make a decision that affects a company adversely. It's equally unlikely that all those to whom you report will be of personalities inclined to accept adverse decisions with equanimity. In short, if you maintain integrity over a long period, it's unlikely that conflict can be avoided. When it arises, it must be confronted, and that can be painful, very painful. I'm not suggesting, of course, that one should seek out conflict. That would be unreasonable and pointless. And indeed, if it arrives, it may bring with it a need for introspection on whether you are mulishly defending a position that lacks genuine justification. This can compound a painful situation with feelings of isolation and self-doubt. But ultimately, when these concerns have been disposed of, there is a need to deliver honest opinion and defend it against assault. Occasionally, this will lead to catastrophe, loss of one's client, or even one's job, as the case may be. This is unavoidable. The only alternative is craven capitulation to spurious argument or even outright deception. Outcomes are not always so unfortunate. More often than not, confrontation can be relieved by some compromise that preserves integrity on both sides. The prior process of dispute might then seem purposeless, but such is not the case. You will have trained those who depend on you to expect nothing less than unswerving honesty. Ultimately, people are often grateful for this. You may have caused them temporary distress or embarrassment, but thenceforth they know where they stand. They will have learned that a statement that you deliver can be relied on as representing your honest opinion. And there will be future occasions on which they will need honest opinions. The contrary case is that of the person whose views bend with the wind. He's quickly recognised as the yes man, unreliable when the chips are down. I'd like to finish on a less sombre note. As an actuary, I shall address the next few remarks to the actuarial graduates. I used to be fond of saying that actuaries were almost without exception very clever people, but not particularly well educated. They were equipped for commercial practice, but few had experienced the rigour of higher learning. Moreover, for a time, the actuarial syllabus fell sadly short, in my view, of appropriate academic standards. As just one example, I used to complain that I would need to deliver a course in linear algebra to each new graduate employee. This has been rectified in the last decade or so, and I'm continually impressed by the quality and depth of knowledge of today's graduates. Over the past few years, you've been given a great opportunity. By the sweat of your brows, you've converted opportunity into a valuable asset. A marketable asset, to be sure, but much more than that. A mode of critical thought, an ability to meet challenge. I wish you well in your future use of that asset. Thank you.
Well, graduates, there was some fantastic advice there, and the need for intellectual integrity applies not just in the area of accounting and actuarial areas, but really in every profession. Being willing to stand up and speak up for what you believe in really is essential. It might cause you some discomfort in the short term, but it will stand you in very good stead. You will develop a reputation as someone who is honest. And on a related matter, just a piece of advice I'd give you, and that is never work for anyone whose ethics you doubt. And when the time comes that you have to employ people yourself, make sure that they're people whose ethical standards are as good as your own. I think that was a fantastic occasional address, and I do hope that you remember the advice that was given to you. I think we should put our hands together for Greg Taylor once more. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it's certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of Macquarie alumni, which now spans the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support, and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And graduates, please make sure you come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study, perhaps attend alumni events, or even to use our aquatic and fitness facilities. Graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either, because almost everything you do, in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society through the decades, indeed sometimes the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or a kind gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned, not only for your own benefit, but also for the benefit of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you've enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, to go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Now, graduates, I hope that also you'll always remember the people who've helped you along the way, many of whom, of course, are here with you today. So to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a couple of things. Graduates, would you now please stand? Now I'd like you to put your degrees on the seats behind you so that your hands are free. And I'd like you to turn around to face your families and your friends. And now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Well, now, graduates, you can turn around, but don't sit down because we'll be leaving in just a moment. There are also some people up here on the dais who are representatives of our academic community who have helped you through your journey here at Macquarie, and I'm sure you'd like to thank them too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now leave the graduation hall through the centre aisle and will be followed by all of the graduates. I would invite everyone to now please stand. And please remain standing until the last of the graduates have processed out. And then I invite you to join us in the marquee overlooking the lake for some light refreshments. And these days we even have some ice creams for the children and people like me. Well, now, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future. And in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you and good luck.